Hi, Mike Simpson, Ginetta Motorsport Director, and today I'm talking about the Ginetta G56 Evo car for 2024. 2008 was the first year we ran the GT4, and we've had an amazing success over the period. Probably been the most sold GT4 car worldwide. Won Dubai 24 Hours, European GT, British GT multiple times. So it's a huge part of our life, part of our heritage is GT4. The car subsequently moved from a G50 to a G55 and latterly the G56 for the last 3 years, and every manufacturer is allowed one evolution during the model term, which is 7 years of homologation. So we spent the last 3 years racing it around the world, finding out its traits, the good and bad, and listening to clients, listening to not just the drivers but the teams, engineers on where we need to be. And GT4, just like GT3, it's an homologated class controlled by the dreaded word balance of performance, which nobody in the world is happy with. The cars can always be better, but the balance of performance is a wonderful initiative to control the pace. So you can have a car like a Ginetta, which is traditionally lightweight, smaller, versus a large Mustang, for example, but they'll achieve the same lap time. So with our extensive history, we've got a mass pool of data around each circuit of where we need to be to not just set the best times, but to have the best degradation or the best overall stint time. And that's what the evolution of the 56 is all about. We've learned where the market is, what some of the car's strengths are, what the weaknesses are, and we've firmly placed ourselves, I would say, in the middle, which for me, anywhere in the world is where you want to be. You've got a chance at every single circuit. Adding weight to the car, believe it or not, I sell a race car now, which is a bit heavier and maybe a little bit slower in the corners, but that was always the Ginetta's USP. It was too light, too fast in the corners, and we were balanced back with a lack of straight line power. So this car is a bit heavier, it sits a bit higher, it's stiffer, on a bigger footprint of tyre, and what that will lead to is a car which is very good on its tyres with the increased stiffness and the increased tyre size. But we will lose a bit of apex speed. But what that would do in the BOP was give us more straight line speed. And there's nothing worse as a driver, you know, being pole position, going into turn one and having two cars pass you purely on grunt. The Ginetta in the simulation models and in real life is the best car in GT4, especially in the mid to high speed corners. Now, but our objective is to be quicker on the straights. You can't have your cake and eat it. So, you know, we're very realistic, Yorkshire firm, British firm, so we know we have to give some back to get some back. So I'm sure I will be frustrated and want more front end gripping out at Cops at Silverstone, for example. But I would much rather have the grunt mid to end of the straight so I can pass a car into Stoke. So we feel we've built the best race car for GT4. It's the best all-rounder. We've tested it around the world up to now. We're heading off to the Middle East pretty soon as well to put it through its paces during the winter. But overall, I think you'll have the winning car, which is the objective on everybody's lips. So we'll start from the ground up. So the bottom sections of the chassis, we've increased the torsional stiffness, added extra material in there, which has given us good strength, which has helped us in some areas, but also increased the weight. We wanted to move up a weight category, so we're comparable to the other cars. We're not 100 kilos lighter, for example. So we're bang on the money on the weight compared to an Aston, McLaren, Cayman, that sort of weight. From their tyre size, we have been limited on tyre size, so we've gone up a rim width on the front, and obviously a different tyre package for that. And on the rear, we've gone up in profile on the rear. So quite a bigger footprint on the car. And then we move into the dampers and suspension. A lot of testing's been done, a lot of it in race situations with myself and the other drivers that have done British GT. And what we're seeing is you can have a very fast quali car, but that doesn't always translate to a car which is a great car to drive at the end of stint, which is normally challenging for any driver when you're light on fuel and you've got up to 150 k's on your tyres. The balance is quite different. So again, we've optimised the suspension, so we will still see a good peak in qualifying, but the drop-off should be a lot less. So hence why I keep saying it will be a very good race car. And then we've added some different aero parts. So the front bonnet is drastically different. Done for a number of reasons, predominantly around cooling, engine, water and oil temperature, but also removing a lot of that hot air and not directing it into the cockpit. With a 6.2 litre V8 generates a lot of energy, a lot of heat. So that coupled with more air conditioning upgrades, a wonderful driver feed which comes straight to you with optional settings of aircon. I feel it's a car we will sell around the world and it'll be very comfortable to drive. And then just some packaging of the rear end, the exhaust has just been moved the location. Again, heat management across the rear, because we have a lot in the rear of the car. We have the fuel tank, obviously drive shaft, suspension, and we have an X-Track LMP3 style transaxle gearbox. So just to get some of that heat away from all those components. I mean, we took our eye off the ball at the end of the G55's life. We were very busy with LMP1 and Le Mans and some road car projects, and we had the market pretty much worldwide. I would say ourselves and Cayman were by far the biggest volume retailers of GT4. And when the 56 was being developed in the background, but we just never made the splash and news about it. And we've lost our market share. So our objective now, we've had a good year in British GT with overall wins, always class podiums, I think, in nearly every race. So we need to establish that back firstly into Europe, Middle East, North America, Australasia. We've had not a bad run actually with customer cars down in the Australian, New Zealand Championship. We've had some victories there. So we just need to show support, for our customers around the world. And the best thing is about GT4 and categories like this, people buy the best car. You can have a wonderful looking car or a famous brand, but if the car doesn't do the job on the circuit, people won't buy it. And the G56 Evo car is the car to have. Motorsport is niche, it is, and Ginetta, I feel, is well known in motorsport around the world, but that's motorsport as I know it. There's a lot of fans out there which would go to events, do sim racing, very different forums, members, and maybe not quite as familiar with Ginetta. So we need to, as a business, grow in that domain, and then that will lead on then to public perception of Ginetta. But I feel in motorsport we are known as the company which can build great cars, quick cars, good value cars. Nobody ever questions that. But we're also very good to work with. Get our customer supports at a high level. We work with, everybody's got my number. We work with people around the world, and it's that David and Goliath, I suppose, which some people hate. Actually, people will maybe want to race a McLaren Porsche, and that's wonderful. That's great. But for anybody that wants a purpose-built machine built to do a job, in a racing factory by racing people, it's us.